This episode brought to you by Nicholson Realty 2.0 and Chuck's Sewer, Drain, and Plumbing. Welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Conrad. Let's go.
I'm Ted. It's time to rock and roll.
Ted, today we have with us via Zoom PJ Alvarez, drummer of SIIN. How's it going, man?
It's going well, man. How are you guys doing?
We're
Fantastic.
great. Thanks for joining us.
We know that you've got
Oh my
an
God.
upcoming show and you're going to open on April 26th, correct? Here in Gas City?
Yes. Yep, for Night Ranger.
That's
Awesome.
cool. That's cool. Hey, we're gonna just jump right into it, PJ. Is it is
Jump
it
in.
is it really you were born with sticks in your hand? Did you really start
I I,
with a toy
I was.
drum?
I was. I started drumming at 5, but it was only a toy. And my parents actually gave me a guitar, a bass, keyboard, and drums. And who doesn't like to make noise?
Exactly.
We love making.
I still make noise.
Heck yeah. I'm sure it sounds a lot better.
It's gotten a little better. A little bit.
So, would you say that your parents were very much supportive of this venture into percussion that you took?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, even till my mom passed away 20 years ago, she would go to all our shows. I mean, she was
Wow.
super supportive of music, super supportive.
That's awesome.
That is cool. That is cool. And we're jumping into the origins of a rock drummer because that has got to be one of the coolest instruments to play in a rock band. You attended your first Kiss concert when you were 8?
8 years old, and it changed my
Wow.
life.
That's
How
Yeah.
how so?
Just seeing that spectacle. I mean, it's one thing to stare at an album and
Right?
go, "Holy cow, well, what is this?" And then you see it in front of your face. I mean, it was just from that moment, I'm like, you know what? I got to do this. I don't know how, but I have to do this.
Wow.
so we know that Kiss is very much an entertainment rock band. How much of that did you see and become enamored with?
Just everything,
The,
everything. I mean, back then for me to see that, I mean, just the vocals, the control. I mean, Gene and Paul, both of them being frontman. It's funny. The best story I could tell you is that my dad surprised me, took me to the show,
uh-huh.
and the next day we're having brunch with his friends, and I'm sitting on the sofa by myself or whatever, and there's all these adults, and my dad was we're Spanish, so he's talking in Spanish, and he brings it up. Oh yeah, I took my son to go see Kiss last night. And everyone at the table like, wait a minute, aren't those the guys with the makeup and and it's funny because they didn't have a good image back then, especially
Mhm.
to adults. And he's like, oh my God, he's like, I have no idea what they were saying. They're yelling, screaming, swearing, one spitting out blood, the other one spitting out fire. The stage is exploding. He goes, I've never, ever seen anything like that in my life. And what's funny is that he took me again to go see him in 79 for the Dynasty tour.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
So after seeing that and being 8 years old, are there any other legends of rock and roll, especially drummer legends that you looked up to?
At that young age, no, it was definitely Peter Criss. And that was pretty much all I kind of followed.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere in high school, I started discovering other drummers like Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden, which I drummed nothing like him. Um, Maybe Tommy Lee was a big, big mentor because he's a heavy hitter and a
Yeah.
showman. But what's amazing is that on my birthday, September 25th, 1980, John Bonham died.
Mhm.
Not knowing anything at all about Bonham, I'm like, well, wow, what is this guy about? And a lot of my drumming, I think, is mentored by Bonham. He's the master. I still say I drum nothing like him, but it does fuel my drumming a lot. And, I play a four-piece kit, one up, one down, one bass drum. And that's kind of where my drumming started getting molded and started changing for me.
Okay. Okay. Now, are you self-taught?
I am self-taught.
That
I
is
don't know
wild.
how to read music. I have no freaking idea what I am doing behind the drums. When I practice, I play to a click, so I'm very much in tune with timing, being in the pocket. I'm like, I can't practice without a click. Even though live, we don't use click tracks, we don't use backing tracks. I mean, it's pure 100% raw rock and roll.
Wow.
But yeah, I know a quad. Everyone's like practicing
Mhm.
paradiddles, and I'm like, what's a paradiddle? I mean, how often do you get to play a paradiddle? So
Yep.
I don't know. It all comes from the heart.
When you say click, are you talking like a metronome click?
Yes, yes. I love practicing to a metronome. I do it religiously every day. I use a phone app, plug it into a mixer, and I've got an app that removes the drums from our music. So if we can't practice as a band, I play the music, remove the drums, and all of a sudden I feel like the band is in the room with me without nobody being here. So I still get to
Wow.
practice and run through everything.
Wow, man,
That's
that's that's raw talent right
yeah,
there,
it's gotta be. That's
and a lot of drive. That's really remarkable. Can we?
I strive. I try really hard, and it hasn't happened yet, and I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime. Everyone strives to be great. I'm striving to be good, and I'm kind of there. I like to say I'm okay with okay. It's gotten me this far, so
Yeah. So early bands. You played in a band. You played in a couple bands. Tease, Vendetta,
yes,
Alchemy, The Inmates.
yes.
How did those form? I
Let's
always
see.
because to me
The-
some of those are the coolest stories of how bands form.
The inmates for me, there was a local radio station that was going defunct, and I met the DJ at a protest, and I actually started working for the radio station. It was called WVVX. I
Hmm.
was actually PJ the phone boy, and the main DJ decided to start up a parody band where he would take like regular songs but make them funnier. Like I think Motley Crue "Smoking in the Boys' Room" was smoking a bong or something like that. I can't remember. He would change the lyrics and everything. So knowing that I was a drummer, he made me the drummer for that band. And I mean, God, and then after that, I formed Alchemy just with some friends. We did a few gigs with Alchemy. I'm trying to think. After that, I formed SIIN, and then
In
after
1990.
1990, and then somewhere in the late 90s, that's when grunge came in, and
Yeah.
we're trying to adapt and reformulate ourselves. The whole scene just, kind of struggled.
Yeah.
And at that point, the band kind of fizzled away, even though we were still getting together to do national shows. I mean, we were broken up for a year, and an acquaintance of mine calls me and says, "Hey, you want to open up for Ingve?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So I call up the guys. I'm like, "Hey, we got a show in a month," and we wouldn't even practice. We would just show up and do the show, and do one of these and hope that it worked out, and it did.
wow. That's
Um, and
Yeah.
then after that, I decided to go the alternative route, and that's when I joined a band called Cathedral Burn, and that lasted for about a year, year and a half. And again, the scene was kind of weird. It was fun, but it wasn't what was planted in me. I mean, I was like more of just a hardcore rock drummer, and started recording with friends, rehearsing with friends, and then another friend of mine who actually had the Tease project. I decided to join that,
Hmm.
and we did that for a few years. And then, once again, just visions started changing, and it was time to put SIIN back together. And we've been through a few different lineup changes, but now the lineup change that I did 3 years ago, it was a blessing in disguise, and it's the best the band has ever been. And I've said this from like the first month after we've been together, and I still say today, my soul is in a happy place. I'm surrounded by four unbelievable brothers.
Well,
that's awesome.
that
That's
yeah. it always helps when you're like-minded individuals, doesn't it, Teddy?
I'm sure that makes a great big difference.
Oh, it's huge, and everybody in the band, we all have careers, we all have families, and we've got a really good balance of life where there's that 80% of life, and then the 20% is our hobby, it's our band, and it's amazing, what we're accomplishing just with that 20%. And I've been saying this for years, but just it's amazing that in the past, I'm going to say 8 years, it's amazing to say that I have played with like 90% of the people I grew up listening to. And now, I've been sharing stages with them. And that's huge to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
But that's so I mean, how often are you guys playing?
Usually during the year, we try to do 1 or 2 shows a month.
Okay.
Sometimes we get lucky, we do 3. We're usually kind of that go-to band for opening up for nationals. I mean, we do shows on our own,
Right.
but I'm just usually looking for support because it's easy. You roll in, you get to hang out with the people again you grew up listening to,
Yeah.
and then
yeah.
you watch them play, and then you go home and you wake up the next day and go to work.
Yep.
I think there's going to be a resurgence of modern rock, and with a little bit of throwback soul to the Midwest scene.
That's how we get that. In fact, that's how we get described. We did a show many years ago, and they published an article. And articles are scary because sometimes a review could be horrendous or it could be great. And it was a great review for us. And the guy described us as a throwback feel with a modern sound. And I'm like, wow, you know what? So I asked him, I'm like, can I use that? Because that's how I want to be described. I get it that we're kind of rooted in the 80s type sound.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing wrong with that. We love it, but it's I don't want to have an image, that yes, we're from the hair band, as you could tell.
Yeah, me too, man.
but,
I used to have long, thick Mexican hair.
Oh my God, yeah. It's just in fact they used to call me a young version of Paul Stanley. And well, that's gone. But you know what though? It was a perfect description for us, and I kind of like it because I don't want to fall into a rut. I mean, yeah, most of the bands we play with are that genre, but we've done shows with Buck Cherry. We just did a show with Blue Oyster Cult, which we didn't know how that was going to work because we're hard rock and they're more classic, and it was amazing. It was amazing. The audience loved us. They soaked us up. They welcomed us, and it's all about opening up doors. We've played with Hinder, which they're more of like a different genre of rock than compared to us, but it worked. It worked.
I think they call that divorced dad rock now. Hinder, Nickelback, they call it divorced dad rock. But I love that stuff.
Hey, you know what? I would love to play a show with Nickelback because you know what? They could fill an arena. We can't. So I'll take it.
So let's switch speeds here because I've got to know. You're also a vocalist as well as a drummer, right?
Just background vocals. Yes, I do backups. It's most of our stuff is just gang vocals.
Okay. That's still got to be hard. I can barely chew bubble gum and walk at the same time.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's very hard. I have had instances where I'm singing and it's like I feel that the breathing for drumming and the breathing for singing are 2 different things, and I'm still trying to figure that out. I have had shows where halfway through a song, I feel like my eyes are rolling back into my head, and I'm like, why am I getting so dizzy? It's because I'm running out of air. But I make it happen. When I see drummers like Dean Castronova from Journey, who is an amazing drummer, and if you ever get a chance, YouTube him singing Mother, Father. They do not need Arnell. I mean, he literally sounds like Steve Perry. And the fact that he could drum and sing like that makes me sick. Makes me sick.
So can we talk about the evolution from the time that you started this band in the 90s to going into the millennia of the 2000s? When you were in that, how much did rock change from early 90s to 2000s? Because I feel like it flipped on its head from hairband
It
to
flipped on
grunge.
its head and it could not get back up. At least I feel for, we stayed true to whatever project I was in. It was always in that genre. And yeah, it was a battle. I mean, number one, we're an original band. And the one thing I do not like about the Midwest is it's dominated by cover and tribute bands. And it's especially where I live. I mean, it's funny. It's hard for me to get shows here locally, but Minnesota, Iowa, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, they love us. And no, that's a good way to put it. It did flip on its head, and we stayed true. We stayed true. We never changed, no matter what project I was in. I was always kind of that one, the guy in the band. Even when I joined my friend's project, even though I'm the drummer, all of a sudden I become the manager, the publicist, the booking agent. I still do it all. It's funny that I
Yeah.
find time to even drum.
Wow.
And you just got to stay true to yourself. And even now, music right now, it's at a point which is it's constantly changing, one hit wonders. Everything is all about, The Voice or American Idol. And we're just staying true to what we do, and it's working. Um, we know we're never going to tour. We don't care to tour. There's no money in that. We don't care about getting signed. That's not going to happen. Every time we release a song, we release it for free, just for everybody to enjoy. I mean, it's literally, we are living in the moment and we are having fun. And, it could come to an end soon. But
Yeah.
until then, we're just out there with our fists flying, and we come out all guns blazing.
Speaking of that, I truly feel like people get blindsided when they're not looking and they put a song out on SoundCloud. The next thing you know, it's caught fire on TikTok.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how much has social media and streaming apps, how much has that affected your music scene and what you do?
Well, it definitely helps. I mean, it's another medium that's out there. I mean, any form of medium, whether it's, all social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, Spotify. I mean, that's all going to help you because, think of the old days. I mean, you had to pick up a phone or you had to be at a show the day before flyering. I mean, it's just without those tools, I mean, they're a big game changer. They're a big, big game changer. And then, like you said, it takes that one song to catch fire. And, it hasn't happened to us yet, even though I feel our music is getting stronger and stronger. I mean, God, we just had that great write-up this morning on KNAC. I don't know if I sent you the link. Um, I I was floored by that review of the song Black is White. I
Please
recommend,
send me that link.
I will send it to you. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what Larry said about us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's got to be get you in your feel goods a little bit.
Well, it does. I mean, that's how I started my day today. He messaged me through Facebook. He's like, "Hey, just in a couple minutes, check the KNAC page," and I checked it out, and I read the article. It literally, it'll take you like 10 seconds to read it. But for the next hour, I was just like,
Yeah.
and I kept on reading it
Well,
and
yeah.
reading. I'm like, am I reading this right? And I'm like, it's we did something right, and I know it'll be momentarily, but for today and for the next week, we're on cloud nine right now, and then next week it'll just be another normal week for us, and we'll see what else happens. I mean, like I said, we're living in the moment. We're rehearsing this weekend, and then next week we're playing with Angel on Friday, Night Ranger on Saturday. We're gonna have 2 days of a little mini tour. And then it's funny. I mean, I kid you not. I'm going to come home that Sunday, and I know for a fact that I'm going to be laying mulch in my yard.
Yeah, back to normalcy.
Back
Right?
to normalcy. Yep.
From
Yeah. For 2 days, I'll have my head up my ass, which is fine.
Yeah.
But when I get home, I got to do the home thing.
Yeah.
Back to business. Back to business. I want to give a shout out to your current lineup. I think it's Matt Elder on vocals, correct?
Yes.
and Leon.
Tompkins
Yeah, and Sam.
and Sam Bello and Bill
Yep.
Bueller.
Yep, and Bill
With,
Bueller.
yeah, without those guys, man, and I'll say this, without them, I am nothing. And I say this to them all the time. But what's most important is that people like you decided to stop what you're doing in the middle of the day when we're all getting home from work, either dealing with kids. I mean, as soon as I'm done, I got to get dinner ready.
Mhm.
And you took the time to stop, to talk to us, to talk to me about what we do in the band. And without you, we are nothing at the end of the day. Nothing. So if anyone's going to be important right now in this Zoom call, it's you for letting people know what's going on with music and spreading the word.
Yes, we've had several musicians on the podcast. We love spotlighting uh, different genres of music, everything from we've had on directors. We love the arts, especially rock and roll music. I mean, this
Yep.
man right here is when it comes to classic rock knowledge, this guy right here is amazing. And that's a good segue to, talk about some of your career highlights. Like you've played or played with and opened for the likes of Ozzy Osbourne, Bon Jovi, Tesla, Blackstone Cherry. Talk about
Yeah, I
some of
mean,
those highlights.
oh my God. I mean, it's the Ozzy thing with Hailstorm and everything. That was that Moonstock. That was amazing. The big one though, yeah, it's Bon Jovi. Um, everybody laughed at me during the time because I was trying, and I am ruthless when it comes to networking. And after that experience, I'm even more ruthless now because my mom taught me a lesson, and it's kind of twofold, two different phrases, but they hold true to each other. And one is the answer is always no until you ask.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. I mean, people are like, "Oh man, what if, what if, what if, what if?" I have no what ifs in my life. If I ask for a show, like what, just yesterday, I've been working on for a foreigner show for the past month. I got a reply. I got a no. I move on to the next idea that I have. I mean, I'm kind of numb right now to the no because not every show we're going to get. And I understand that. But it took me about 2 years of constantly talking with management with Bon Jovi. And then, a lot of the shows were either political buy-ons, radio contests. And finally, after 2 years, I get a call from his manager and saying, "Hey, I got a possibility." And of course, I'm ready to just like lose it on the phone. And he goes, "But there's a big but." I'm like, "I don't care." "Well, what's the but?" And he goes, "It's Canada." And I'm like, "I'll take it." We drove 15 hours to play for a half an hour. And then the next day, drove home 15 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
It could have been in
And
Antarctica, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't care. I mean,
Yeah.
and I finally, I look back at that, and it's every musician's dream to see what it would be like to feel like, a rock star.
Mhm.
And, a running joke with people that don't like me, they call me, "Oh, Mr. Rockstar Moment." And you know what? Is it okay to swear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, then fuck you. Because I've had a lot of rock star moments and I've worked hard for them.
Yeah.
And for that moment, I got to play to 21,000 people.
Yeah.
And it takes me back to that whole Kiss scenario. What would it be like to be in front of an audience like that? And I tasted it for a day. I hope it happens again, but I did it. And it was all from asking. And it's funny, I still stay in contact with those individuals. So I don't know, can it happen again? Maybe. We opened up for Styx a few years ago, same scenario. I asked, I get the phone call. They're like, "Hey, you want on?" I'm like, "For Styx?" I'm like, "Who wouldn't want to play for Styx?" And it was a sold out event for like 7,000 people.
Wow.
And then the next day we did a show at a bar for like 150 people.
Uh-huh.
And to me, it was the same level of energy.
Yep.
You just, and the other lesson my mom told me, because in the beginning, again, going back to phone calls, mail, or flyering. And I kind of cross the line still a lot because I do become a pest. When I want something, I go for it. And my mom said, don't worry about being a pest. Don't worry about being a thorn in somebody's side. Be the whole fucking rose bush. So if
Oh, I
I'm
like
coming
it.
at you with an idea, yeah, if I'm coming at you with an idea or I want something, I'm coming at you full force until I get a no. And then once I get the no, I back off.
I'm inspired, man.
I love that.
Yeah.
Be the whole rose bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry about being a thorn in somebody's side.
Yeah.
Be the whole fucking rose bush. And she swore. That's all she
Yeah.
told me. I mean, that's you got to go at life that way because it's funny. It's like I'm staring at myself and I see tattoos on my arm. Um, I'm 57 years old, and I decided a little over a year ago to get a tattoo, and now
Wow.
I can't stop.
Yeah.
I can't stop. I'm like addicted. But it's funny. I said I would never do that to myself, and I decided to throw in the YOLO. You only live once, and it's true. I
It is.
mean,
Yep.
it's true. I mean, it's just it's finding that balance of life where just make everything work. I mean, it's just the world right now is really miserable. I'm hoping that soon we'll see some light. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think we're all in control of our own destiny.
Yeah.
If your family situation's not good, work on it, fix it. If work is not good, you're unhappy, find another job. If your band is not working, make changes. I made those changes 3 years ago, and now we're on fire.
You should do what makes you happy. No one else is
Yeah.
going to worry about you. No one else is going to love you like you. And if you
Yep.
have an expectation of how someone should love you, that you're going to be let down every time.
Yep.
And the no
You know,
thing, that's how I got my first girlfriend.
there you go.
Had a lot of no's, but there was one that said yes.
Yep. There's something that came up in conversation, and I'll send you that link too.
Okay.
A friend of mine about 10 years ago thought about me during a business meeting, and I was actually beyond flattered that he thought of me at his business meeting at his work. There's a pastor called TD. Oh my gosh,
TD
I can't remember.
Jakes.
I'll send you the link. Yes,
TD
he
Jakes.
came out. He came out with a video. Do you have the courage? And I still listen to it at least once every 6 months. The fact that somebody thought about me during that, because he said, you've got courage. He goes, you've got balls to try to go where no other band goes. And I'm willing to jump off of a cliff. Again, you get the no, then you get the no, then you know what, you'll move on. But it's true. I mean, in fact, literally, I could do a screenshot of the conversation. We just had this yesterday, and I found the video again, and I watched it this morning, and it's just like, it's very motivating and very inspirational. I'll send you that link
That's
Yeah,
because
great.
it's spot on in life right now, and I don't think it's timeless.
So can you want to ask
I
this
just
next
gotta
one?
say, you say you're 57.
Yes, I'll be 58 this year.
You look like you're in really good shape.
I try to be, all those facial creams and no, just kidding.
Yeah, I'm 71.
Yeah, whatever.
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'm 48.
Okay.
Can we talk about like your mental prep and the physical toll of a show? Like,
Mental prep, I am wired. I'm like a little kid. Um, and even though there's the mental prep of getting ready to go on stage, I'm kind of like making sure everything's okay on the stage, getting everybody into their places, talking with the venue production. I mean, I'm like, my hands are in all those areas. I'm kind of like the dad of the band. Um, I'm wired. I mean, I'm anxious. I can't wait to get up there. Once I'm up there, I am completely gone. Like if we do a 45-minute set, it feels like it's only like a minute. Like I'm just like, we start, play the song, over, and I'm like, what just happened? Why? How can it be over?
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable getaway. I mean, my mind does escape. I always say, I can't hit people, even though I feel like I want to throw punch everybody, but I can hit the drums.
There you
And
go.
that's how I just take out all my energy. Now, the after effect, oh my God, my shoulders are killing me, my arms are killing me, cortisone shots in my shoulder, in my wrist. Yeah, the older I get, I'm just wondering how much longer I could keep doing what I'm doing. It's just like I see these drummers that just kind of like sit there and they're all nice and calm. And I'm like this guy. And no, the next day it's brutal. Advil, Tylenol, it's sad.
Wow. Now, okay, this might be a little off the wall, but is there a go-to snack or meal or drink that you have to have before you go on
Because
stage?
yeah, he's basically like an athlete. How many
Okay.
calories
And
do
the,
you
and the
burn?
and the band will vouch me for this. I'm the freaking guy who's walking around with a banana or a bottle of water most of the show. And if there's food at the venue, forget it. I'm like, I need a pizza, I need a hamburger, fries. I'm always eating before, and I'll eat like half an hour to an hour before a show. I'll
Really?
eat, I'm drumming, I'm burping, drumming, burping. And then as soon as we're off the stage, I'm eating. I'm constantly freaking eating. I mean, I honestly, I think I eat like every 2 hours.
Wow.
That is
Yeah,
wild. I bet you burn a lot of calories drumming.
I do. I
And
do.
drummers
But
are always dripping. They're always
yeah,
dripping with sweat.
always. I burn a lot of calories, but I'm always eating a lot. I think that's why my energy is always amped because I'm always fueling myself with food.
Right. Yep.
So can we talk about your upcoming projects, your current projects? Aren't you guys opening for Great White like May 2nd?
May 2nd, we're opening up for Great White. Yeah, so far,
Flint,
off the top
Michigan.
of my head, yeah, it's in Michigan. So we've got Angel, Night Ranger, Great White. That's May. I've got another show pending in May. May, June. In June, we're playing Aquafest in Wisconsin with Stephen Percy, Great White, Quiet Riot, and us, I believe. Then June 20th, we're back in Michigan with Warrant and Firehouse.
Wow.
Yeah, in July, we're pending another show. July, August, we're doing a benefit in Wisconsin for veterans to raise money for veterans.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're all kind of really, really strong on that. And I
That's
mean,
yep.
it's just any help we could do, we want to help. When they asked us to do the benefit, we're like, absolutely, we'll do it. It just got announced on Monday. We're playing with Ace Frehley again in October at the Lincoln Square Theater in Decatur.
Cool.
That is
That's
awesome, man.
Yeah.
And you guys plan on dropping new material, correct?
Yeah, well, we just dropped Black is White about 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Okay.
and we are now in the process of writing. We've already written 2 songs. We're working on a third, and we already have an idea for a fourth. So the game plan is, like we do every year, is to go into the studio in October, record it, and try to release a new single at the beginning of the year.
Okay. That's cool. Well, next Saturday when you come to Gas City at the Pack, you're gonna like this place. It's
Brand new.
Oh,
brand
I saw
new.
pictures, and it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful.
It's really nice. The acoustics are really good, and that'll be a good
Yeah,
show.
no, we're excited. I'm gonna get there early because I always just like walking around the venue and just
Uh-huh.
like looking around and going, wow, we're playing here. That's really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. That's
Yeah, this thing's still has that new car smell.
yep.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Oh, maybe I'll roll around on the floor a little bit.
Yeah. You guys are going to be breaking it in.
That's beautiful.
How long should a venue be open before you say it's properly broke in? A year?
Oh, you know what though? I've always say day one. Day one, as soon as that first band hits that first guitar chord, the crack of the snare, and that PA system blows out what it does, it's broken in.
Oh,
That's
well,
it.
it'll be ready for you to rock and roll, man.
Well, he's
Yep.
saying
All cylinders
my
are
pocket
firing.
too.
And like I said, Night Ranger is an incredible band to see live. But when we come out, we will come out all guns blazing from beginning to end. We don't do ballads. We don't slow down. It's just, it's bang, 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 bang. In fact, the first 4 songs are all put together. Like there's not even enough time to cheer in between the first 4 songs because we just come out full
Hey.
force.
Well,
That'll be.
I'm gonna have to sneak in there and see you guys and maybe get you on again for a little 10-minute interview before you go on.
Hey, I'm down. Make it happen, and I'm totally down. My goal is, like I told everyone there, it's to come in and kind of put our stamp when we're there.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping that everyone sees how well and professional we work. And the goal is to be back next year
Right.
for another show and just have fun.
Before we cut you loose, PJ, I gotta ask, do you have any advice for any young up and coming drummers that want to pick up the sticks and live the rock and roll life?
Do it and dedicate 100% of your time. I wish when I started drumming, and in fact, I occasionally still say this, I wish I would have done drum corps in high school because I think it would have molded me a little bit better, understand rudiments, percussion. Now with YouTube and Google, there are so many tools out there for people that are aspiring to pick up an instrument.
Mhm.
And there's just all the answers are right at your fingertip. It's right here in this little box of a phone
Right.
or
Yep.
wherever you want to watch it. I wish I would have had those tools because going back to what we were talking about earlier, I would love to be great. And I don't think I had those tools. I wasn't like wanting to like go learn how to drum. I literally would look at a photo and go, okay, well, his arm is here, this hand is here. And then I would just listen to the sounds and put it together. I don't think I would have had the patience for school where a teacher goes, okay, do this, for an hour. It's just like,
Mhm.
what? No, I want to do it all, but I wish I would have had those resources available that's out there now. Yeah, just dive into it. The biggest thing though, be patient. You have to be patient. I was never, again, going back to the beginning, like that type of click drummer or practicing to a metronome.
Mhm.
I got into metronomes maybe a decade ago, and I was okay with it, but it really I finally landed in that pocket 5 or 6 years ago. And like I said, I even have an app on my phone, and I use it live sometimes where I put it on the phone. I don't even have to hear a click. It actually shows you a live BPM, and I'll look down at my phone, and if I know the song's at 110 BPM, and I look down, and the phone says 109, I'm in the pocket.
Huh.
That's cool. That's cool.
I pay attention to that so hardcore now. And those are lessons I wish I would have known 10, 15, 20 years ago because I just don't feel that those rules were there or those resources were there. And yeah, it's just be patient because they say it takes repetition to learn. And I think the rule is you have to repeat something 800 times for it to become habit.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
That's a lot of repeating.
Do it over and over for 3 weeks, 21 days in a row. Yeah.
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 But hey,
Yeah, just be patient because at the end of the day, your soul will be happy.
hey, you want to shout out your family, your support system?
Oh man, you know what? My wife, she puts up with a lot, and I'm the lucky one.
Yep.
If it's not the band, if it's not work, if it's not guns, if it's not cars, I mean, it's funny. She says, your head's always up your ass. It's so far up my ass, I could see my tonsils. I mean,
man.
I've got an incredible support system because,
Yeah.
I mean, my drums are here. I'm in the basement of my
Yeah.
house. So imagine now I'm going to go drum for a few songs, and it sounds like a machine gun going off in the basement, and my family is like right above us. So God bless their soul because I couldn't put up with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So could you tell us where we can find your music, your social media pages?
Yeah, we are on Facebook. Make sure it's SIIN, 2 I's.
Mhm.
So yeah, Facebook, Instagram, it's SIIN Rocks. On Spotify, it's just SIIN. You'll see the little blue verified check mark on there. We're also on iTunes. We're on X. I mean, all the media outlets out there. If you go to a SIIN Rocks, SIINROCKS.com, that's our webpage. That'll actually direct you right to all the web pages.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good
That's
deal.
awesome. Thank you
Yeah, but
so much.
get everybody to follow us on Spotify. Those are the big numbers, and the agents always look at that and they're like, hey,
Right,
you got a good amount of following. So that's important.
Yep.
Yes.
It is.
And if you're watching this on Garage Talk 46933, hit that subscribe button. Go to our Facebook page, Garage Talk, hit that follow button. And on TikTok, we're Garage Talk 46933. Hit that follow button and like our videos. And go to SIIN, subscribe, follow, and like. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks, PJ. And
Hey, I had to do that.
yeah. Hey, we appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. And you know what? Do me a favor, please, when you're there. Come find me, look for me. I usually wear a bandana at the show just because of sweat and my microphone. But do me a favor, please find me, say hi, because again, that's just like logistically, my head is up my ass and I'm like trying to do 4 different things at the same time. So grab me and smack me and say, hey, grab my attention.
I definitely want to thank you in person.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, no, and I will definitely thank you again. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day in the middle of the week to just to talk, man. It's just like, again, proof in one phone call, my music family, it just grew.
Yep. Exactly.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Keep rocking
Absolutely.
and rolling, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks again, buddy.
Thank you so much, man. You guys take care of yourselves.
Yep.